Here.
Mrs. Salgado County.
Present.
Ms. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Stafford.
Here.
We have 9 present.
Hereby be it known that the Piscataway Township Board of Education has complied with the notification requirements of the Open Public Meeting Acts for the announcement of this meeting date and place on April the 30th, 2023 in the following manner. Posting a public notice on the posting board for the Board of Education in the Administration Building. Email notification to newspapers serving Piscataway, the Home News Tribune, and the Courier News. Email notification filed with the municipal clerk at the municipal building on Hose Lane. This meeting is being videotaped. This recording is not an official record and or supplement to the minutes, is intended only as a source of information that the public might utilize at a later date to familiarize themselves with the board's activities. Executive session. Be it resolved that the board adjourn to executive session for the purpose of review and discussion of the personnel agenda, litigation, HIB monthly reports, and other matters pursuant to New Jersey law in 10-4-12B. Let me repeat that. Pursuant to law, NJSA 10-4-12B. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are in executive session. Be it resolved that the board reconvenes a public session. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are now in public session. We are going to
So many students.
go straight over.
Go right to.
Okay. We are going to change the agenda up, and we're going to go directly to public comments from the floor. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comments on educational issues and school matters of the community interest. In support of this position, the law established a period of public comments at every board meeting. Individuals wishing to speak must state their name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes duration, but an individual may speak a second time after all others who wish to speak on the topic have been heard. The board may require that individuals register to speak prior to the beginning of the meeting. Participants may submit written material in support of their position. All statements and or questions shall be directed to the presiding officer, and no participant may address or question board members individually. All speakers are required to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for dignity and privacy rights of others whose legal rights may be affected. Please note, while it is not the board's intention to stifle comments on matters of legitimate concern to the school community, the public should be aware that if their statements violate the rights of others under the law governing defamation and invasion of privacy, they may face personal liability to the injured party. If speakers are uncertain of their legal ramifications of their comments, the board urges them to seek guidance beforehand from their own legal advisor. Can I have a motion to open public session? Have a second.
Second.
We are officially in public comments from the floor. The floor is now open for the public to come forward to make their statement, to say what they have to say. When you come forward, please give us your name and your address. We will need
Just township.
your name and your township. We will need for you to spell your name for us.
Good evening. Do I need to press the button?
No, you're good. It's already on.
Township Council, I have to press the camera. so I didn't know how it works here. My name is Khaled Zayed. My first name Khaled, last name Zayed.
I'm sorry, could you give me the last name again? I'm sorry.
Zayed.
Thank you.
And this is my first time coming to the Board of Ed to speak.
I'm sorry, Piscataway?
Oh, yeah, Piscataway, of
Thank
course,
you.
yes. No other town. So this is my town. So yeah, I'm here because I've been going to the City Council meetings for the past 6 months to urge the City Council of Piscataway to pass a resolution for calling for ceasefire in Gaza. As you know, there's a genocide going on in Gaza right now. I'm Palestinian American. My people have been slaughtered every single day. They literally pick up babies, headless babies, out of refugee camps in Gaza because Israel is just literally dropping bombs on them. So it's been very emotional for me right now as a Palestinian. My family, half of my family lives in occupied Palestine. So I was speaking last week at the City Council, and a student brought to my attention that something that happened at the Piscataway High School yearbook that I wanted to speak about, which is I was told that MSA, Muslim Student Association, took a group picture for the yearbook, and they had the Palestinian flag in the background. But somehow the picture was photoshopped or edited, and the flag was removed. This is, to me, it's unacceptable. This is a free country, as we were told, and my understanding is you can carry any flag you want. Nobody has any right to Photoshop a picture for the yearbook and remove that flag from the background, Palestinian flag. I wish I was going to bring the flag with me to show you what it looks like, but I do have pictures of the before and after was edited, so I know there are some students who are going to speak. But the fact that this happened is really sad to me, because my son graduated from Piscataway High School last year. My other son is going to Piscataway High School next year, and I don't want him to experience this right after October 7 last year. I don't have I forgot to bring the entire article that was sent out to the school, to the parents to the community about the October 7 attacks, and the October 7 attacks were condemned. But I have yet to see the board or anybody write an article or write something, a message, condemning what's happening to the Palestinian people every single day. This is not a political, I'm not trying to make this political here, but I'm saying if you're going to take one side, then you have to take the other side. So I'll go back to the issue of the flag. I want to know, first of all, why the flag was removed. And I want to know, like, I want a promise that this would never happen again. And I will also want to demand the reinstatement of the flag, of the original picture, into the yearbook and reprint the yearbook, because this is not acceptable. When even my own son, when he heard of the story, he was like, wow, that was his response. Wow, why would they do this? And he's going into the high school next year, and I don't understand why would someone take it upon themselves to remove the flag, to edit the picture and remove the flag from the picture and then put that picture without the flag. What problem do they have with the flag? Why is the flag bothering them? I need an answer. I need to know what's going on. I know there's some of the students going to give more details, because I mean, I'm speaking from what I've heard, and I'm repeating what I heard, but I wasn't there. I didn't experience this. But as a parent, I'm also trying to educate the community about my people, because if I'm not going to sit silent, I'm not going to, everywhere there's an opportunity for me to speak about what's happening, because sometimes the leaders in our community, they make decisions that are not the right decisions. They make uninformed or uneducated decisions, and we have a lot of our children here, our students, the Muslim community, Palestinian community, they attend the public schools, and when they see stories like this, it makes them very sad. So we don't want this to happen. We want to be able to have a guarantee that this will never happen again, and we need an apology from whoever did this. And we also I need to make sure, like a demand, that the picture will be reinstated, the original picture, and the yearbook will be reprinted. That's all I have to talk about that. I don't have a prepared speech, but I just wanted to give you an idea that I've been going to different towns and speaking about ceasefire and calling for townships to pass a ceasefire resolution. Even if the Board of Ed has the opportunity to do something like that, to say we call on all parties to cease fire. People are getting killed every single day, and I know we live thousands of miles away, but even our children are really being affected by this. My own family, my own children, my wife, we all impacted by what's happening thousands of miles away. We see our people getting killed. There's nothing we can do about it. So we need a statement about that. So if you have any question for me, if you have any follow-up question, I don't know what the process is like here. I know I've attended a few meetings at the Piscataway Township, so I know how it works, but I'm not sure how it works here. So if you have any question for me, please ask me those questions.
Sure,
Thank you so much.
I could answer. You
Yes.
okay with it?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a little bit of a statement beforehand, and I know first of all, it's great to see so many young people out here. I know this situation and what's going on has really affected a lot of people personally across the globe, and we're sorry for the family members and everything that is involved. So you asked how this process works, right? It's really not a question and answer period. I will offer the things that went behind the decision and the justifications that we thought were justifiable for the decision. I really think there was a breakdown in communication, but we'll get to that. So when people come up, it's really not a question and answer period.
Okay.
You come up and you can make your statements, but I'll give you the answers that you're asking on kind of how it happened, why it happened, and what the reasoning behind it was.
Okay.
Right? So we'll get to that. But when people come up again, when you address the presiding officer, just understand that it may not be a question and answer period where you sit there and answer questions.
Okay.
It's more public comment.
Cool.
So some students in this room, right, know me well. They know Dr. Gray well. They know Mr. Baldessano well. The MSA has legitimately, right, has some concerns throughout the year because of what happened on October 9th. And the passion, I'm sorry, the passion that you all have for the cause of your people and what's going on across the globe is very commendable. I know Mr. Baldessano has had specific conversations with all of you, the principal, about what the flag means in certain cases, and asked you questions about why the flag. And a lot of his answers, what was conveyed to me, a lot of the answers that he received was, we want to protest the genocide. Right? And is that an accurate account?
The MSA has to answer that question.
So really, it's a situation where the flag in that picture was a protest of some sort, right? Our yearbook publication is not a place for political protest, and that's where we rested the decision, right? In other places for the MSA throughout the year, right? There were allowances for the flags, there were allowances for many things, right? Stand for Palestine information session, an article in the Chieftain newspaper, right? Articles and things that we gave support for. In this publication, we didn't feel like it was a place for a protest, and that's where the decision and the rationale lie. Now, I will say, I will personally apologize to everybody in this room and all of the MSA for the communication. I think that that was poor, right? So if anybody, you asked, one question you asked is who made this decision? Well, it was me. Maybe not directly for the yearbook, but throughout the year when we talked about the flag and publications and what it means and why, right? The consultation that we had and the communication that we had was that it could happen in certain places because of what we allow students to have freedom of speech and things like that, but other places where it might appear like the school is taking one side over another for anything, not in this case, whatever it may be. And you mentioned you don't want it to be political, but you mentioned the word politics 7 times when you were speaking, right? So it is, right? In essence, it is political. So we, in this publication, we did not feel it was a place for a political protest. And that's as simple as it is. Now, again, I apologize for the communication. The students should have known that the picture was going to be photoshopped, right? And I'll take the responsibility for that. And I do apologize.
So I can do follow-up, right? I have
Real quick. I mean, yeah, you can.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if it was a protest or not, but regardless, that's something that the MSA has to. I don't want to speak on their behalf, but the Palestinian flag should be. It could be either a protest or it could be stand with the people of Palestine.
Okay.
It has been done with Ukraine, and on all levels. You know, when Ukraine was attacked, you know, everybody did it for Ukraine. So why are we not? And I've seen this happen in many different places where when it comes to Palestine, there's always pushback. You know, there's always censorship. And when the email was sent out in October, I believe I spoke with you on the phone. Correct?
Yep.
Yes, we spoke, and I really wasn't too happy with that email because it condemned the attacks on October 7, but then we have daily attacks on the Palestinian people, and I have not seen any single email saying we sympathize with the people of Palestine, right? We literally had like a refugee camp 3 days ago that was obliterated, like 274 Palestinians killed, and rescue, they call it rescue operation, and my cousin's son was killed in the West Bank by settlers. So we have, you know, daily killing, this happens, and sometimes I can't sleep. I'm just thinking about it all the time. And if the flag was removed, maybe if, like you said, there was no communication, maybe if that happened, maybe if it was communicated to the students, maybe they could have explained to you that it's not a protest. Maybe just sympathize with the people of Palestine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So
again, I mean, not going back and forth, but what was conveyed to me is they used the words that we wanted to protest a genocide, and I understand. But again, the decision was made not to have that be a place of protest.
okay, I'm gonna let
I understand what you're saying.
I don't want to take advantage and start taking over the meeting. So I'm gonna sit down. Thank you, but I'm gonna let somebody else speak on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? If so, please come forward. Please state your name and spell it so that we can have it on record, please.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everybody. My name is Zoha Khan. Zoha, last name Khan. That's it.
I got it, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Piscataway?
Cool. Yeah, Piscataway. That was 2022. Yeah. So good evening, board. As I said already, my name is Zoha Khan. I'm actually a current student at Princeton University. But most importantly, when I introduce myself to new people, including you guys, I don't say I'm from Princeton. I say I'm from Piscataway. And I spent the entirety of my educational schooling in Piscataway. PHS class of 2022, Quibletown class of 2018, MLK class of 2015, Randolph class of 2013, if I did my math right. And my education in Piscataway was formative to how I view the world and conduct myself in the public sphere. It was through Piscataway that I learned what it means, what this concept of diversity means. that I learned the importance of diversity and unconditional acceptance of each other's identities. It was through Piscataway that I felt comfortable walking into school wearing a symbol that represented my faith, knowing that it was this community and this town that supported my entire being and my identity. And so that's really formative to me. It's what I'm very thankful for. And so it appalls me that the very place that grounded my practice of love and acceptance of each other's identity is now erasing the identity of Palestinian students. That has taken a flag, a symbol of one's being, and has removed its existence from the yearbook. This seems antithetical to the core values of what Piscataway stands for in diversity, in equity, and its values of care and compassion. That even if you are not part of a group, in this case, the Palestinian community, that doesn't necessarily mean you must not be representing that group. These are the values that I learned from Piscataway, but in seeing the actions regarding the yearbook, it seems that it's failed to uphold the values that I stand for. And from what I understand, and this is where I stopped writing because I was so invested to what was going on, one's identity and ability to feel safe within their identity is a basic right. And if that means representing your identity with a flag, or representing other people's identity that you feel is equally as valid as yours, then that's completely okay. That's something that's given to you as a human being. And so it feels almost that if erasing that flag, that removing something that is a part of someone's identity means that they are not worth of existing at all. And so that's all I wanted to say. These are my thoughts that I wrote in the car after I took an orgo exam like 10 minutes ago, but are just some things that I want everybody to be thinking about. How are we erasing or upholding the identities of our minority students? But not specifically just our picture-perfect minorities, but those that may not have the same platform and the same voice that other students have. Those are some things that I think Piscataway needs to be thinking about, and some things that I just want them to reflect on what it means to remove someone's identity from a public space. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to come forward and speak? Please come forward one at a time. Please state your name and spell it for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Amar Khan. First name Amar, A-M-M-A-R. Last name Khan, K-H-A-N.
And you're from?
I'm from Piscataway. I'm a senior at Piscataway High School. So, I remind you all today that not long ago, our very own Frank Brunelli said, and I quote, "As a parent and an educator, I can't help but think about the children in the Middle East who are caught in the middle of this violence. Let us all hold our children a little closer and help reassure them through the difficult feelings this brutality may be bringing up." I applaud Dr. Anelli in not only speaking up for children regardless of race and religion, but reminding us all that we must hold our loved ones a little bit closer. I did not realize, however, that according to Piscataway High School, some people are clearly not considered people, and some flags are deemed not ethnic enough. Can I not ask why Spain, France, Italy, and China were recognized in the yearbook, but Palestine removed? Are they stateless because Piscataway decided so? I did not realize that Palestine was not only not considered a state, but also willfully removed by the school. Does Piscataway not thrive on diversity? If one day another nation with people that look like me has a conflict with people that look like you, will I not be considered a person? Will my roots too be deemed not worthy enough to be carried around? Am I part of the Diversity and Equity Board only because I am brown and to fulfill your diversity quota? I request Piscataway High School, who has been home to me for the past 4 years, to understand that conflict in general is bad for anyone, And whether it be Israel or Palestine, at the end of the day, innocent people suffer. Standing up for humanity is what you taught us for the past 3 years, and you made me strong enough to be here today. I'm standing up today for the innocent, not the perpetrators, but the innocent. The fact that the Palestinian flag was removed from the yearbook, and yet Miss Prince, a science teacher at Piscataway High School, is allowed to parade around the school wearing the Israeli flag, is not only double standards at its finest, but it's just honestly so sad to see. I want to leave Piscataway High School as a proud alumni. And I ask Dr. Ranelli and all those here today to think about the children in the Middle East who are caught by this violence, and let us be assured that we too are people, and to understand that the Palestinian flag, just like all the flags displayed within our yearbook, holds so much value to the Palestinian and Muslim students of PHS, that removing it has thrown out a piece of their history, a piece of their culture, a piece of decades of persecution and injustice. It has thrown all that out the window. Talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion.
The floor is open for the next person to come speak. Please state your name, spell it, and your township.
Mohammed Khan,
Spell it, please.
Mohammedkhan, and I'm from Piscataway. Today I stand before you not just as a representative of our student body, but as a voice for fairness, inclusivity, and respect. We are gathered here to discuss a matter that has touched the hearts and minds of many within our community. The decision to edit out the Palestinian flag from the yearbook picture featuring members of the Muslim Student Association. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the complexity of navigating political symbols in an educational environment. The intention to maintain a non-political stance is commendable. However, consistency in the application of such policies is paramount to ensure fairness and equality. The yearbook reflects our diverse community, a tapestry woven from the many threads that represent the different cultures, languages, and beliefs that enrich our school. When the Palestinian flag, held proudly by the Muslim Student Association, is edited out for being a political, yet the World Language Honor Society photo remains unedited with European flags, inadvertently sends a message of selective censorship that contradicts the values we uphold. The Palestinian flag in this context is not a political statement, but a symbol of cultural identity, much like the flags represented by the World Language Honor Society. To edit one while allowing the other creates a disparity that we must address. It is not the presence of these flags that is political, but rather the decision to treat them differently. The decision to continuously attempt to remove Palestinian representation and disregard Palestinian identity. We must ask ourselves, what message are we sending to our students? Are we fostering an environment where all students feel seen and valued? Or are we setting a precedent that some cultural expressions are more acceptable than others? We are tired of having to defend the Palestinian identity every single time a community representative decides to not represent us, but we will continue to do so nevertheless. We will continue to advocate on their behalf and continue to showcase the Palestinian identity regardless of any attempts to erase it. As we move forward, I urge the school administration and the board to consider the implications of such decisions. Let us work together to create a yearbook that truly captures the spirit of our school, one of unity, diversity, and mutual respect. Let us use this as an opportunity to set standards for inclusivity, where every student's identity is celebrated and honored. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Please state your name, spell it, and your township, please.
My name is Nika Deitch, Nika. Last name Deitch. And I'm a Jewish Piscataway resident. And I shouldn't have to mention that, but I feel like it offers some strange power in these conversations. And I want to talk a little bit about why the nature of the Palestinian flag is political, but not how you guys are describing it. It is not the choice. This is not the first time or the last time the Palestinian flag will be banned. The Palestinian flag, by its very nature, is a protest because it has been banned in countries across the world. It is illegal to fly it in many places. That, in case you're wondering, is why the watermelon symbol is so popular with the Palestinian movement, because it includes red, white, green, and black in a symbol that is much more harder to censor from public than a flag. All flags are political. They are the symbols of a political state. If you want to remove politics from education, we have an American flag right there. I don't think we should remove it, but if we're taking out politics of flags that some people find questionable, we have one in every classroom. The Palestinian movement is one that is important and one that I guarantee in the coming decades your teachers will teach about, along with the civil rights movement and the resistance to the Holocaust. And just like those events, the people in charge are against the change for the better. I want to echo what everyone is saying tonight about the hypocrisy and double standard, and I want to proclaim my support for the Muslim Student Association and their ability to have care for their culture in such difficult times. It is not easy being of a marginalized religion. Some might say our very existence is a protest in a Christian country. And I think it is unfair to hold them to a standard of not being protesting, of not being political, while the government has decided that their very being is. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak, please come forward. Please state your name, spell it in your township, please.
Hi, my name is Rany Hackson, Ranyhaksan, I'm from Piscataway. So I'd like to start off by letting you all know that I am the daughter of parents who survived the Cambodian genocide. I was born in a refugee camp because my parents weren't able to return to their home. And I always wondered, how did the world allow the Khmer Rouge to kill 2 million people and allow them to commit genocide for nearly 5 years without anyone trying to stop it? And now I know. I'm watching it happen. We've been witnessing a genocide happen in real time for the past 8 months. We've been watching children be bombed day after day after day. Gaza had to cancel this school year because too many kids had been killed. And they were being bombed and killed in their sleep. They had to cancel the school year. What are we doing as adults if we're not protecting all children from this type of suffering? Every child is ours. We're not acting like it. And I do want to address, what drives me nuts is when people say, oh, you're so passionate about this cause. This is not a matter of passion. It's a matter of standing up for what is right. And what is right is to stand up against a genocide. Because genocide is never right. Genocide is always wrong. It is not politics. It's politics because our government wants us to think it's politics. Because we are seated in the rotten core of the imperial empire, who has been supporting Israel, a settler colonial entity, since its existence. And they're trying to get rid of Palestinians to take over land. That is the reality. This flag represents, this is the Palestinian flag, I brought a very small one. This represents dignity, honor, resilience. Most importantly, it represents 75 years of suffering, 75 years of a struggle for liberation. And the right to self-determination. That's what this flag represents. There's nothing political about it. So when I heard that the students were directed to remove the flag from their photo, I thought, well, why? Why is this flag so threatening? This flag represents all that is good in this world. Okay, when Palestine is free, we're all free because they're fighting the colonial empire that has been indoctrinating all of us, even the education system. We've seen from these encampments at the universities that cops are not meant to serve and protect us. They're meant to serve and protect the ruling class, because you see how they've been treating those students. Those students are not being protected. As educators, I always expected that the teachers were the ones that would be on the side of what is right. I'm starting to question that now. What are we teaching our children if it's not to stand up for what is right? What are we teaching them? That, for me, I don't care if you have a degree, but if you have honor and dignity and the courage to stand up for what's right, you're my type of people. Why is it that we're not teaching about a live genocide and allowing our students to engage in the cause? We teach about other past genocides, and what is the point of that? The point of it is so that students can learn how to spot when a genocide is happening so they can help stop it. And that's not when has Palestine been mentioned in the classrooms? Probably never. Why is it not being taught? We have the opportunity for these students to engage in a cause against a genocide. Why are they not being allowed to do that? Why are they not being given the opportunity to do that in their classrooms? It appalls me. Like, what is it so hard? What's so hard to understand about the fact that there's a genocide that more than 40,000 people have been killed, more than half of them are women and children? What about that is right? Why are we not being louder about defending them? And you know, again, like I said, as adults, as educators, our role is to protect, you know, the safety and security of children, all children. And I feel like it doesn't apply to Palestinian children for some reason. Why not? Is it because they're on the other side of the world? But listen, it's our tax dollars that is funding that genocide. My money, your money, going to fund a genocide. If you don't know, all you gotta do is a little simple Google search. It's our tax dollars that our government is sending to fund this genocide. You're paying for it, I'm paying for it, and over my dead body will I be silent. Thank you.
Good evening. State your name, spell it, and township, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Syed Hashmi, Syed Hashmi. I'm the Piscataway resident.
Piscataway, I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, thanks for giving the opportunity for us to stand here and talk about that. I did not write anything or just have some talking points. I remember a few months back, I think last year earlier, when they have a freshman, what they call decoration for the doors. When the freshman comes in, there's some decoration they set up. And I've seen the pictures. There's a Palestinian flag on one door. There's another door was Israeli flag and the Pakistani other flags. So if you talk about the flags are actually politics, right? These are political. So if you allow it in the school, why not in the school book? That doesn't make sense to me. On one hand, you allow kids to decorate their classroom because you have the kids coming in to their first year classes. And at the other hand, we are saying because this is a political flag or representing whatever it is. The other thing is also, I really appreciate the Piscataway Board of Education have a diversity group. We brought Dr. Gray. He's doing a phenomenal job because I attended few programs with him, and then I see a lot of kids really coming together. But after seeing this event, I think we probably failed in a big time, because what we are trying to teach our kids, the kids who are exiting the PHS or they are graduating, or the kids who are coming. My daughter, she is in the middle school, she will be in high school in a couple of years. What they're trying to learn, they know all what is happening right now. They will remember that this year when my son, Rahim is my son, he's graduating. So what will happen that year this event came, right? So what are we trying to teach our kids? You probably need to educate the people who are administrator, who are running the organization, who are running the school, because it's all about education, as few people before me talk about, that you need to understand what is the context behind it. Not just somebody said is a political situation, is a protest, representing the protest, but at the same time, we creating double standards. So in my opinion, this is not something which we are setting up for our kids, because they are the one who are the torch bearer. They represent Piscataway when they go and graduate from here, go to different colleges. Everybody asks, where are you coming from? Piscataway. Oh, I know that place. It's a nice place. They have diversity. They have a lot of different ethnic group and how they actually mingle together, how they work together. But these type of events, this will be on social media. I'm sure everybody knows. We'll talk about that. That's what happened at Piscataway High School. They removed the flag. And to me is how you can Photoshop that those two kids holding a flag and you move those kids around in a picture without even having their consent. That's to me doesn't make sense. How you can touch my picture from the photo and move around, because I look at the picture first, I said, okay, those two kids were holding the flag. Where'd they go? Oh, they moved because the flag was removed, so they Photoshop. That's to me is ridiculous, honestly. Unfortunately, I have to use that word, but I think you probably have to educate first yourself, because what is happening right now, I'm not talking into, okay, we already talked, whatever the events happen after October 7, the genocide, everything. But I think at this point, if we educate ourselves more, we will not get into this situation. Today is Palestine, tomorrow will be something else, next year will be something else. So any event comes in, you probably have to educate yourself. That's the important part in my opinion, because it's not just one event, it can happen, but if you don't educate ourselves, it can happen again, and we probably will be sitting with a different audience. I think that's the most important, because it's a Piscataway Board of Education. Education, that's most important to me. Thank you very much.
Please state your name, spell it, and township, please.
I'm Jannah Abu Salim, Jannah Abousalem. I'm a junior at Piscataway High School. I'm a Muslim, Palestinian, and Egyptian student who is part of Day of Dialogue group, which works with diversity and equity. This is a story of microaggressions that have happened in the classroom. It was the end of October, about 2 to 3 weeks after October 7th. A teacher of mine didn't show up to school one day, so when I saw her in class after the weekend, I asked her why she wasn't in school. She told me that she needed a mental health day after everything that was happening in the world and seeing all the anti-Semitism was affecting her. In my mind, I knew she was talking about what was happening in Israel and Palestine. She started naming events that were legit examples of anti-Semitism. She knew I was Egyptian, but she didn't know I was also Palestinian, so I wanted to point that out in hopes she'd be sensitive. I said, as a Palestinian, it's so sad to see anti-Semitism and Islamophobia rise around the world because of something we can't control. She agreed. I then asked, do you have any friends or family in Israel? Are they safe? She responded, only millions of non-blood related family. After that, the conversation died down a bit before she sat at her desk and called me over. When I got there, she said, I forgot to ask you, do you have any friends or family in Palestine? I knew she meant Gaza, where I don't have any family, so I answered, I have family friends and family of friends there. She then asks, are they safe? Are they okay? Earlier that day, I got a call from a friend telling me how his aunt and uncle were killed in Gaza. The weekend before, my parents were telling me how they were talking with people who lost up to 45 family members. I answered, no, they were killed, with a straight face. It sounds aggressive, but that's what happened. They didn't die or pass away. They were killed by Israel. I was tearing up just thinking about it. She looks at me with a sympathetic face, then says, oh, were they used as human shields? My tears dried up and my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe someone had just asked me that question, let alone a teacher. I made a face and said no. I think she realized from my tone and face that I was extremely offended by that question, because she tries to justify it by saying, well, you know, because ISIS and Hezbollah use human shields. I then say, I don't think Hamas is running into schools and hospitals just to kill themselves and a bunch of kids. And even if they were hiding in there, it's really bright to bomb a hospital and kill 100 people just to kill 1 or 2 Hamas soldiers. She quickly says, no, I never said that. After that, I don't remember too much of the rest of the conversation. I was too in my head thinking about that. All I remember was us talking for maybe a minute and hugging at the end. I spoke to DEI about the incident and chosen not to report it because I believe she's uneducated about the issues and really truly believes what Israel is saying to try and justify the massacres they're committing. But nothing can justify killing one child, let alone thousands. I still get emotional talking about this moment, and it really has affected me. I still feel it's important to speak about, to raise awareness and give an example of the microaggressions that can happen in the classroom. I was recently asked how I felt that I, as a student, had to have that conversation with a teacher. And my answer was that it doesn't feel good. Why should I, as a student, have to be put in such an uncomfortable situation that I shouldn't be in the first place? A teacher's job is to create a safe and comfortable environment, and after that comment, she failed to create a comfortable environment for me as a Muslim and Palestinian student. School is not a place for teachers to state their political beliefs, let alone try and justify the slaughter of my friend's family. As Palestinians, we're always being silenced. This yearbook Photoshop is also another way of us being silenced about where we're from. Genetic-wise, I'm one of the few Palestinian students at school, but in reality, we're all Palestinian. My friends are Palestinian. Everyone at this meeting right now is Palestinian. Piscataway High School is Palestinian. Please stop silencing our voices and let us represent where we're from.
Is there anyone else wishing to come forward and speak? If so, please do so. Please state your name, spell it, and your township, please.
Hello, my name is Ahmed Sache, first name Ahmad, last name Saqe, and I live in Piscataway.
Thank you.
Symbolic speech is a form of free speech that is a civil liberty reserved to all American citizens. This right is what enables all people to express and speak their minds. This important right has been violated in this very school district. A flag represents a people, their culture, their history. To censor a flag, a symbol, or any form of representation occurs not in a free society, but in a dictatorship. A few moments ago, Dr. Anelli said the flag in that picture was not a protest, was a protest of some sort, and the yearbook is not a place for political protest. On whose authority does a flag become a form of political protest? On whose authority does our right to free speech become a problem? I need not remind everyone here of the hypocrisy of this decision, but to remind you of a landmark decision of the Supreme Court case Tinker versus Des Moines. In this case, white American students wore black armbands in protest of the Vietnam War in school. These students were suspended from school and were not allowed to utilize their free speech. This form of censorship resulted in the incorporation of symbolic speech to the states and inadvertently to the American people. This case is what enables all of us to walk around with a flag or a kufaya or anything that represents symbolic speech, and that is all of our rights. This decision was made 55 years ago, long before I was even thought of. And yet it seems that such a precedent cannot be realized in such a small township such as Piscataway.
Is there anyone else wishing to come forward and speak?
Hello, my name is Maaz Khan, Maazkhan. I'm not from Piscataway, I'm from Edison, but I did hear about this incident over social media. Piscataway is becoming famous. I hope this won't cause you to disregard my comments, but please understand they come from a very sincere place, from a neighbor. We're living in a historical moment. We're living in a moment the equivalent of the Civil Rights era, the Vietnam War protests, the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. That is how history will remember these days and these years. Maybe some of you feel that it's unfair, that you are caught up in something that is outside of your control. That is how many of us are feeling. We're very powerless in the face of billions in special interests and governmental affairs and foreign interests. But it's coming home to Piscataway. It's coming home to things that are within our power to control an act. There's no country in the world that has more protection, an undue protection, than the state of Israel, and it's coming home to Piscataway. In New Jersey, I can boycott any country in the world. I can choose to boycott any country in the world, including the country that we're living in, including our own, the United States of America. But it is actually illegal in the state of New Jersey and 36 other states to boycott the state of Israel. That is extraordinarily outrageous that we cannot boycott, express our First Amendment right to boycott a foreign country without penalty from the state. It's frankly against the First Amendment. I'm sure there's going to be court challenges in the courts, and I need you to understand that this is something that's completely wrong that's happening here. But it's coming home. Our First Amendment freedoms are being affected by what's happening overseas and by these special interests that are acting in many different ways, and in certain ways to remove things like the Palestinian flag. We talk about ethnicity, we talk about flags as political symbols, and that is justification for removing them from a yearbook. But I ask you, why is it that only certain ethnicities and certain flags are considered too political to be given valid protections of expression? It's outrageous. I mean, a few decades ago, the Irish were fighting a struggle against their occupiers. The Irish in Ireland, in Northern Ireland in particular, they were fighting a struggle against the British occupation. We never considered the Irish to be a political identity. We never said the Irish flag cannot be displayed because it is too political. Because the Irish were understood to be human. They were understood to have a complete identity. They had a culture. And they still do. There are many Irish in the United States today. But they're considered to be whole people. So too the Palestinian flag. It does not just represent their struggle for liberation. It represents a complete people. Food and clothing and music and religious expression, a history of many thousands of years. These are a people. They are not just a political entity. They are people. And by criminalizing their flag, and that is what this sort of censorship is doing, we are erasing, we are helping the forces that oppose them, we are helping erase their identity. That is what is within our power to do. That is what is within your power to do. That is the choice that you choose to make by allowing this to go forward, by not disciplining whatever faculty member caused this to happen, or by speaking to the yearbook company that actually enacted this. That is what is within our power to do, or to not do. I ask you how you will choose to be remembered by the generations to come. We remember the inaction of those in power during the struggle for civil rights and against apartheid South Africa. Those were not the heroes of history. The heroes of history will be those who stood up against those in power. You have the power to be remembered in a positive manner, to remember to be standing on the right side of history. Those who enact censorship are never on the right side of history. Let's be honest. And yet, this is being justified, and I'm finding it outrageous. I'm finding it disgusting to see people justifying this sort of censorship of valid political identity. I ask you to take steps to remediate this. This is not something that should be allowed to be brushed under the rug. There should be consequences for this. There should be remediation. My younger siblings go to your schools. I don't want them to go forward and graduate from the school knowing that their Board of Education did not protect them, did not protect their expression. It's you were entrusted with these children, with these young adults, and I urge you to not shatter their sense of confidence in who they are by allowing this to pass. Please take action. Thank you.
Please state your name, spell it, and township you're from, please.
My name is Bibi Ishaq, and I'll spell it B-I-B-I, last name E-S-A-H-A-C-K, and I am a resident of Piscataway.
Thank you.
I'd like to start first by really commending all the students here tonight who are brave enough to come forward. This might be the most populated board meeting you've ever had, and that shows you the passion in which this topic has reached every single home of every person here and more. I'm a former educator, and I had the privilege of teaching history and political science. And I also had the privilege of teaching about the Holocaust. And I proudly taught Muslim and non-Muslim children about the Holocaust and how horrible it was and the repercussions of it. And what I see here today, and what I'm hearing here today, and what I've been hearing since October 7th from my own children who attend Piscataway schools, is that they don't feel safe in their schools. And I'm going to give you a really live example of not feeling safe. My children were praying at the Muslim Student Association in Piscataway High School when a teacher entered their Friday prayer, walked in front of them multiple times. A student got out of the line of prayer. If you know how Muslims pray, they pray in straight lines, and asked her, "Is everything okay? Is there a reason that you're kind of parading in front of us or walking in front of us?" That teacher nothing happened to her. Absolutely nothing happened to her. Then after October 7th, that teacher approached students in her classroom and said to them, "Do you know that Hamas burns babies in ovens? And that's okay for teachers at a school to say and no repercussions to happen? That's not okay. I'm an educator. If it was me and it was reversed, I would have been doxxed. My entire career would have been over in a moment. And everybody in this room knows that. After that, that teacher was put on quote-unquote leave and then reinstated back into the school. And you all know who I'm talking about. Parading in the hallways with an Israeli flag, although a Palestinian flag cannot go inside the yearbook. And I'll be honest with you, this is absolutely ridiculous. For an entire community of people here, and yes, all of us are Palestinian. I'm not Palestinian, but I'm Palestinian. All of us are Palestinian. Why is it that we have to come here and we have to say, with what should be common sense, that these children find this issue so important to them, as children often do, as youth often do, as we did when we were young. I was that student in front of the United Nations 20 years ago protesting because there was genocide happening in Palestine. And I'm proud that my children do the same. And actually, I'm the one that drives them to those protests. And I'll tell you this, when we look at what that teacher did, and nothing happened to her, and I've been told that she is going to, quote unquote, retire quietly this year. Should we open an investigation about that? Why is she quietly going to be pushed away when she should be up here and we should be asking her, what in the world were you thinking intimidating students on their Friday prayer? What were you thinking asking them or telling them that babies are being burned in ovens by Hamas? What in the world is going on in a small town like Piscataway that a teacher is allowed to do something like that? That is a shame. Yes, we're here today, many of us, talking about the Palestinian flag in a yearbook. But the problem is deeper. Because if my children have to hear that in a school, in Piscataway High School, I'm afraid of what's being said in the elementary schools and in the junior high schools, and children not reporting it. That brave young girl that came and said, "You know what, I didn't report it." And she should have reported it. And her parents should have reported it. And every single person that has an issue should be reporting it. And how many reports will the Board of Education here need to get before something is done? We are at a moment, as many of you have heard, in history, where history is being written. And they're asking, what side of history are you going to stand on? Are you going to stand on the right side of history? Are you going to be on the history that Nelson Mandela stood up against when he fought for the end of apartheid in South Africa? I don't teach in Piscataway. I've never taught in Piscataway. I taught in New York City, where maybe you can hear from my accent. But I'll tell you this, if this happened in New York City, that teacher would have been out, completely out. If it was reversed and it was a brown or black teacher, that teacher would have been out. How dare Piscataway Board of Education not take action against Abby Prince? And I said her name.
Is there anyone else wishing to come forward? Please state your name, spell it, and your township, please.
Hello, my name is Hasib Rahman. I'm an alumni. I'm a resident of Piscataway, and I'm an alumni of Piscataway High School class of 2022.
Can you still spell your name, please?
Haseeb. I would like to reiterate the call of my classmates and fellow alumni and fellow Piscataway residents against the erasure of Palestinian identity. And I invite all you board members present here right now to stand against the erasure that happened, against the Palestinian people, and to stand against the characterization of Palestinian identity, of Palestinian existence as quote-unquote political. Because the same wasn't done by all for Ukraine. You characterize, Mr. Ranelli, you characterize the protest against genocide as something political earlier in the meeting. I don't know what you specifically believe on Ukraine, but you represent the public institution. So I'll tell you what the public institution said regarding Ukraine, what they did regarding Ukraine. When Ukrainians took up arms, no, not peacefully protesting, they took up arms against the Russian occupiers, the public institutions rallied for them. In fact, our own local YMCA flew the Ukrainian flag in solidarity with them. When Palestinians are slaughtered silently by their occupiers, they are erased like they were in the yearbook. Such acts are not merely symbolic. They indicate implications about views on Palestinian life, on human life, and the worthlessness assigned to them by the American public institution. The duty to stand up for Palestinian life is incumbent on every public official, on every American public official, and every American citizen, because this slaughter is happening with our tax dollars. It's happening on our dime. Lest the public institution fail the Palestinians the same way they failed black people and Native Americans and the people of Iraq. I iterate to the Board of Education to not follow to the same steps as many of our local Democratic politicians, like our very own local genocide supporter, Frank Pallone. The Democrats, not all of them, maybe not even our Piscataway Democrats, but too many of them, they smile at us. They do photo ops for diversity with us. They come to our mosques, then sign off billions of dollars of weapons to a fascist government that has bombed to death 40,000 Palestinians. I'm compelled to bring up the Democratic Party, which I know most of y'all are part of. The party of progressivism and diversity, quote unquote, because the bombs that Palestinian people are being killed under are signed off almost unanimously by Democratic politicians and by Genocide Joe and conniving Kamala. We must stand up for Palestinian rights. We must stand up for Palestinian rights, stand up for what is right, over fleeting and temporary political alliances. And we must acknowledge and reach out to our Palestinian neighbors and students, almost all of them who have lost family members, whether they're from the West Bank, whether they're from Gaza. And because of my concern against injustice, because I am ashamed to see the injustice that is being funded by our tax dollars, because I stand for never again, the way we did for the Holocaust, I say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Is there anyone else wishing to come forward and be heard? Please state your name, spell it in your township, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Amin Sache, Aminsaqe. I'm a resident of Piscataway. I myself am not Palestinian, but the closest people in my life are Palestinian. My best friends are Palestinian. My mother's best friend, who I admire and look up to, is Palestinian. So when I see the Palestinian flag, I see freedom and I see home. It is a place that I would like to call home. I myself have been to Palestine once. I thankfully like to say that. So when I went there, I was at a checkpoint trying to get into a mosque, a place of prayer, a place of peace. Getting into that mosque, you see a checkpoint where soldiers, 10 soldiers, have AK-47s, fully armed, ready to be aimed and fired at anybody who resists. I've seen friends who looked the officers in the eyes, and the officers were grabbing the trigger of their gun, ready to shoot. I personally have trauma from this, and I hate to admit it, but every time I see the Israeli flag, I feel as if I'm coming to tears. So when I see a teacher in a place where I'm supposed to be felt safe, and a place where I'm supposed to learn, parading around the school with an Israeli flag on her back, my trauma comes back. I feel sad. I remember the people who are getting killed in Palestine currently right now. Reliving this trauma is the hardest thing in my life. It's so hard because seeing my friends and family being aimed at with guns, with AK-47s fully loaded, ready to kill somebody, just to get into a place of peace. This lowly matter is of our flag, the Palestinian flag, getting cropped out of the school book. It's not about just the school photo. It's about our people, our Palestinian people, our family in Palestine, getting not recognized in our schools, in a place we're meant to feel safe. People here today are Palestinian. There are some Palestinian students among us who don't feel safe coming to school after seeing a teacher parading with the Israeli flag. I just think when I see this, it's horrible. It's shameful. A teacher shouldn't be able to parade around with a flag, and I can't parade around with my flag that I see as home. I see as safe. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Please step forward. Please state your name, spell it in your township, please.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Jaweria, Jaweerya. Last name Mohammed, Mohammad, and I'm from Piscataway. Good evening. I'm here today as a Piscataway resident and former public school teacher. For a district that prides itself on diversity and inclusion, it's abhorrent that the Piscataway admin censored the Palestinian flag from the Muslim Student Association's group photo in the school yearbook, going to great lengths to Photoshop the flag out. This is a clear discriminatory behavior against the school's very own Muslim and Palestinian student population. This censorship infringes upon the students' right to freedom of speech and actively erases their identities. It sends a dangerous message to the entire community, deeming Palestinians to be irrelevant, or what's more chilling, non-existent, and fuels the current environment of anti-Muslim hate and anti-Palestinian hate that is already rampant within our country. What is more shameful is that this happened during a time when Palestinian lives, culture, and educational systems are deliberately being wiped out during what UN experts and scholars of genocide have confirmed an act of genocide and scholasticide. I should not have to remind the board that there are Palestinian families in Piscataway who have lost loved ones in Gaza. It is then appalling for Piscataway admin to silence Palestinian and Muslim students from expressing their very identities during this time. Instead of taking pride in your students' courage, you are alienating them and teaching them that their voice doesn't matter and that their lives and the lives of those who they love don't matter. Thank you.
State your name, spell it in your township, please.
Yes, this is the speaker here.
Yes, that's the speaker.
Hello, my name is Jacob Pender, Jakob, Pender, Pender, resident of Piscataway, Rutgers, New Brunswick student. Substantial disruption. This is a term that means that is based on the Tinker test, a test that was brought up earlier, a test that the Supreme Court ruled that when a student walks to the door of their public school, their First Amendment rights do not get lost. That includes not just their freedom of speech, but the whole First Amendment, including their freedom of press. Whether the superintendent believes that this flag was political or not does not matter and is irrelevant. If these students wanted to put something very political, if they wanted to put Free Palestine in their yearbook, they had the First Amendment right to do so. That is what is protected in the U.S. Constitution for these students to do in their yearbook. So whether or not you believe the flag is political, that's irrelevant. What matters is that this is their yearbook, this is a public school, and these are laws that are put into place to protect the students. And that is something you have all failed to do. You have the chance to make this right, to adhere to the law that protects the students. Whether or not you agree with this flag, I personally do. I think that having a flag of a country in a yearbook, I think that's great. That is diversity. I think that's amazing. But what it is, why it was removed, is not because it was believed it was political, but because we believe that having a Palestinian flag is an attack, is anti-Semitic, is an attack on the Jewish people. I am Jewish. Having this flag and having it removed from the yearbook does not in any way help any Jewish person at all. Because when we start taking away the rights of people with marginalized identities, that will not just affect Palestinians, that'll affect Jews, that'll affect all people of marginalized identities. What next? Are we going to blur out a Star of David a student is wearing around their neck because we think it's political? Are we going to blur out their yarmulke because we think it's political? This is the student's First Amendment right to have this in the yearbook. Board President Cherry, I campaigned for you and your team based on inclusive leadership, based on human rights. It was a different issue back in November. It was LGBTQ rights, but they're all one in the same. When we're seeing LGBTQ+, when we're seeing queer Palestinians being killed, when we're seeing human rights being taken away at every corner, at every school board, at every school across this country, it's unacceptable. Human rights being taken away at public schools is not acceptable. I'm going to read the exact Tinker opinion here. Did the speech or expression of the student, and this is where the quote starts, materially and substantially interfere with the requirements of appropriate discipline in the operation of the school, or might it, and this is where the quote restarts, reasonably have led school authorities to forecast substantial disruption of or material interference with school activities? According to the nonprofit Student Press Law Center, this Tinker test applies to all school publications, including school newspapers and yearbooks. That applies there. Are you going to sit there and try to say that this interferes substantially and disrupts school activities and operations? Is that the hill you're going to die on? Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to come forward and be heard? Please state your name, spell it in your township, please.
Hi, my name is Dharmi Patel. It's D-H-A-R-M-I, last name Patel, P-A-T-E-L.
Township?
Piscataway.
Thank you.
I'm here today. I've been reaching out to district various team members regarding the information and struggle I'm going through with my son. This has been 6 years, and I finally realized I am not looking at the root cause of the issue, and I'm just trying to treat something superficially. So my son's been having behavior issue, which the school calls a behavior issue. Since first grade, we thought because it's his age, it's normal, and so first it happened in first grade, in kindergarten, where teacher was reporting to me, and then I was doing all I can on my own. Then I couldn't do anything else. It was a whole year and trying to do what I can. Then I reached out to Mr. Basketball. He was the principal at the time at Grandview Elementary School. And we met, and he mentioned teacher never reported, so we could have sent him to a different class to see something else. And we did. We started that, and it worked for a little bit, but then the school year ended, and then second and third grade. Fourth and fifth grade, it got worse as he's getting into pre-teenage years. So I started blaming his pre-teenage age and saying, you know what, you need to start behaving, you need to do this and that. But then he's a straight A student. He gets 97 to 100 in all subjects, okay? Then I requested, when it happened 3 times, and then he was like, there was some action taken, but one of them was, he was dismissed, he was suspended, and that's when I took it seriously. It was something that, okay, they said it was against code of conduct, and fine. When I looked into more why he was doing what was going on, I asked for help from school, from the counselor, of what we can do. Okay, he's going home. I want to know what I need to do. Week and a half, I did not hear anything from the counselor. I stopped at my public library. I asked them for counseling information. I got something. I reached out to Heaven. I requested school to fill out the form because Heaven told me that if teacher fills it out, you can get it has more weight on it. And there are 20 students on a wait list. So the school told me there are 20 students ahead of him, so he might not get a call. So we were going to fill it out. I did not wait. I filled it out on my own, whatever I could. I sent it in. I got a call next day. I got him on an appointment. By the time school gave me information, and that too I reached out third time, and we started counseling. And we had a meeting with Mr. Baskerville, school psychologist, and the Heaven psychologist, and she's the one who introduced me to something and said, it's not a behavior issue. He's a talented kid. Then when I started looking into school system in our district to see what kind of gifted and talented program we have. So I asked the district for information. I was directed to school website. When I go on a school district website, the district website direct me to NJAC website, which says this is what you're supposed to do. One of the legislation requirement is Strengthening Gifted and Talented Education Act 338, Chapter 338, which says gifted and talented continuous service policies and procedures implemented at school district, the total number of students receiving gifted and talented service in each grade level. This is the reporting that district's supposed to report to the state. I asked for information because I wanted to know how many students are there? Are there any parents who I can reach out to and get information to help myself? Now, there's supposed to be multiple measures. What we are calling multiple measures is NJSLA, one of the assessment we're using, our district is using. I even sent other districts information, their COGET testing policies and what they do and how it's helpful. Okay, the district worked with me, and they tried to give me something, which was a test for math and literacy, which my son had no idea. I had no idea. So before I called and I asked, what kind of test is it? Oh, we're just going to test him in math and ELA. He was tested. The ELA supervisor called, but math supervisor never called me to explain what was going on. Again, I waited. For math, he's been placed in 7th grade. He's going into 6th. He's been placed in 7th grade, which is great. But for ELA, his 1-hour test, he finished in 15 minutes. But he's still going to be in honors, which all of his other honors classmates going. What I am concerned is I don't want him to miss his school year, like his age, skip middle school or whatever. I don't want him to skip that. What I am afraid is he's going to have too much time. And he's going to have behavioral issues. And what am I going to do? So, latest response I got from the district is they're looking into improving our gifted and talented program. I think there was some training last Monday about gifted and talented program. But I'm really here today to express my experience with the child. I have one on a spectrum. My one son is on a spectrum, which is a whole lot of work for me. But then in another hand, I have talented kid who's also I'm always ignoring, and I thought it was my issue. I was ignoring him, and that's why he's having behavior issue. But we really need to look in to see what other districts are doing and what else we can do, because I looked at South Plainfield School District. It is impressive. The amount of information they provide to parents on what is a COGET test, what does an example look like. Honors is academic level. The talented kids need more than that. Otherwise, they're going to have behavior issue. So now on, if something happened, am I going to start counseling for him? Because after 6 sessions, the counselor says, I'm dismissing him because he doesn't need it. So, at first place, I also have to think about his mental health. I'm taking him for counseling when he really doesn't need counseling. And what is he thinking? So, my request is, I would like to see a report that is the state required report that should have information as per chapter 338, if I could see the report. I've been directed to the district website. It does not have anything. The district website direct me to NJSC website, and it has a whole lot of pages of information of NJSC. This is what the NJSC website has. So if any parents who's looking for information, and it has a requirement, what district should have on the district website about the assessment, procedure, policies, and that's not available on the website. I even wanted to file a complaint, but I want to give a fair chance to this district to look at it and see if there is anything, give me information, or provide information to other parents that can help. And that is it. That's all I have. One more thing about hearing all of this going on in the world. I was not aware of any of this is going on. I have a child on a spectrum, and I thought of it differently when I hear all this. If something like this happened, anything you say to him will he will take seriously. So if any diversity issue or anything is being said to him, he will process it differently than other kids. For an example, if my husband gets mad and if he tells him, okay, if you don't want to do your homework, throw it out, he will go throw it out. He will throw it in the trash. That's how serious he is. So think about, I am now walking away here with different worry in my mind. If the district has this kind of stuff going on top of what he's dealing with and what he's going through. And if I'm going to have to worry about his safety and his what else he's going to see, it's concerning. Thank you very much.
Could you do me a favor, ma'am? Could you do me a favor? Could you spell your first name again?
Dharmi, it's Dharmi.
And what school does your son go to?
My older one is in Arbor. He's going to Shore.
Shore.
Next year.
That's the one you were speaking about.
Yes. So he'll be.
Next year. He's in Arbor going to Shore.
Arbor going to Shore.
Right,
and my younger one is in Grandview.
Anyone else wishing to speak, please come forward. Please state your name, spell it in your township, please.
My name is Rida, R-I-D-A, last name Hashmi, H-A-S-H-M-I. I'm a Piscataway High School alum, class of 2023, and I just want to bring it back to the point that the flag issue and all this Palestine-Israel issue, I believe Dr. Ranelli said about 30 minutes ago that the Palestine flag was removed because the flag was seen as a form of protest. I just wanted to point out something very quickly. The civil rights flag was political. Was fine that flag also wrong? The women's rights flag was political. Is that flag also wrong? Like he said not that long ago, it was the Tinker Des Moines case. Would Piscataway act as Des Moines if the case did not exist? And honestly, when has America in history not political? Political is how we bring about change. If Piscataway deems change wrong, I think I understand the stance that Piscataway take in history.
State your name, spell it in township, please.
Hi, my name is Isabella Lopez, Izabella. I grew up in Piscataway and I graduated in 2020. Some of you might remember my mother, Alexandra Lopez, who served on this board for about 10 years. So thanks to her, I'm pretty familiar with the ins and outs of administrative policy and the sort of issues you deal with on a daily basis. I'm of the belief that Zionism is an extension of white supremacy, and any sort of tolerance of Zionism is condoning the genocide of Palestinians. I'm of the belief that one day Zionism will be widely condemned as an inherently oppressive, fascist ideology, and that all those who did not speak up during this time will carry a deep sense of regret and shame. That is my personal political opinion as a current Rutgers student and future educator in social and political sciences. I'm here to echo the concerns of this community and to say that the board's reasoning for removing the flag is simply void. By erasing a flag, you are sending a clear political message. It is a message that it is controversial to acknowledge Palestinian existence. It's a message that Palestinian national identity does not exist or is inherently threatening to a particular group. The same message being echoed by our president and all people supporting the Zionist agenda. Would you have made the same decision if it was an Israeli flag? Or if the flag didn't represent a people who were predominantly brown or Muslim? If you take offense to that suggestion or find it absurd, you're not doing the work of an ally to understand how implicit bias informs our decisions. To go beyond performative diversity politics is to understand the difference between equality and equity, to understand the context in which our students are learning and living in. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Google recently removed Palestine off the map, something that's happened on and off in the last few years. We're entering the final stages of the genocide and have the rare ability to bear witness to it in real time, thanks to imagery shared by those on the ground in Palestine. Nobody should have to live stream the violent and brutal murders of their loved ones to prove that they deserve to live. But unfortunately, this is the reality for Palestinians. Students have to go to school and maintain some semblance of normalcy after waking up to the most traumatic imagery you could possibly conceptualize. Imagery that I would have to assume y'all are not forcing yourself to view. Because if you were, this decision would not have been made. Are you aware that the devices our students are using to access educational resources are mined using child labor in countries like the Congo? That the multi-billion-dollar corporations behind the technology used in our schools are contributing to not only the genocide of Palestinians, but of the Congolese people as well? As far as I'm concerned, neither the Palestinian nor Congolese genocides are included in our curriculum, but the Holocaust is. Perhaps you can apply your knowledge of privilege and intersectionality to understand why that is, regardless of whether or not you were personally responsible for that decision. This is just one small example which proves that every decision you make in regards to these children's education and in your personal lives is political. You are sending messages every day without realizing it. I would hope that in a district which claims to prioritize student safety and belonging, taking a stance against colonialism, imperialism, and the eradication of a marginalized people would not be controversial. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. While I would like to think it's due to propaganda and misinformation, the reality is that every single one of you, regardless of your status as a minority or an oppressed person, has grown up in the context of the American empire. And therefore, your thoughts, views, and policies that you uphold have been shaped by systemic racism and violence. When I saw the edited yearbook photo circulating on social media, I was disappointed and embarrassed, but not surprised in the slightest. In my time as a student in this district, I dealt with my fair share of bigotry and injustice and fought enough battles that I rarely choose to return to district events other than to support current students. I implore all of you to look deeply and introspectively to understand how this decision has impacted the marginalized students you claim to care so much about and profit from, and to take accountability for the harm that has already been caused while doing everything possible to rectify this mistake and stand on the right side of history. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Okay, with that being said, go.
Good evening. My name is Rahim Hashmi, Raahim Hashmi. I want to begin by expressing gratitude for all the support you have provided me in my tenure as student representative. It has been an honor to serve in this capacity and to work alongside all of you who are clearly dedicated to the betterment of our school community. However, I do want to address a matter that has deeply impacted me and many of my fellow students. On May 30th, our yearbooks were distributed, and I soon heard conversations about a troubling omission. The Palestine flag was absent from the Muslim Student Association picture. As a proud member of the association since my freshman year, I found it hard to believe that this had happened. I refused to believe that this could come from the very administration I had the honor of working with. But after speaking to others, I confirmed that this was unfortunately the case. This incident is difficult to reconcile with our school's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Since my time at the high school, I have participated in Day of Dialogue meetings, dedicating hours to discussions about cultural sensitivities and belonging. I've worked with Dr. Gray and have seen the significant efforts we make to ensure every student feels valued. The very existence of a Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in our district underscores our commitment to these principles, yet those aren't being upheld with this decision. Just a few days ago, Tanvi, Jannah, Amar, and I, who are all here today, along with our Day of Dialogue team, presented to the math department about identity awareness. We emphasized the importance of connecting with students and respecting their diverse identities. Quite frankly, we learned about DEI from Piscataway, yet right now, oddly enough, it feels like we are having to teach the administration. I want to note, our district has invested significant resources, from my understanding, awarding a $60,000 contract to an ongoing equity audit. I don't need a PhD or money to tell you that this decision was wrong on all levels. This decision to omit the Palestine flag from the yearbook starkly contradicts these efforts. It is shocking and frustrating that an entire country's heritage can be excluded due to perceived political implications. I want to emphasize that a country's flag represents cultural heritage, not politics. European flags, such as those of France, Spain, and Italy, all of which have political histories, were included without issue. Yet when it comes to a Middle Eastern flag, it is excluded. I also want to mention that there seemingly were no structured conversations to find out the actual intention behind the specific exclusion of the flag. Funnily enough, when we met to ensure Sodexo food quality was on par for students, we had longer conversations with more students and stakeholders to ensure the decision impacted everyone equally. It's sad that this was not the case here when making a decision that impacts so many more. If we truly valued all identities, I don't think this decision would have been made the way it was. I have been told that this decision may have been made with the intention of protecting students, but I ask, what are we protecting them from? Their own culture and heritage? This incident highlights the need for involving relevant stakeholders, especially students, in decisions that affect them. We must ensure that no student feels that their culture is deemed less significant than others. I sincerely hope that the board and administration can work together to provide answers and develop clear policies to prevent such issues in the future. Students should never feel that their cultural heritage is lesser because their flag was removed from a yearbook. This is not the message we want to send as a district, but unfortunately, it is the message being received. I might be graduating next week, but I want to be proud to say that I'm a PHS alum. So please make the right decision moving forward. Please stand on the right side of history. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Being I see no one else standing or raising their hand, at this point in time, I'm going to ask for a motion to close public session. Can I have a second?
Oh, were we not gonna have any discussion more from the board on what we may or may not wanna do?
Can't close public comment.
I can close the public comments and still have a discussion
Okay.
with information going forward.
Okay.
So, who was the second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, so public comment is closed. No one else will be speaking on this, on public session right now. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much. You've all made your viewpoints very clear. I've learned quite a bit tonight, and I hope that was what your goal was, to educate. And you've done that successfully with me as well. So one of the very first speaker, is he still here?
Yes.
Yes, he's
Okay.
in the front row.
You know, he talked about a republication or some rectification, things like that. So we will take that. First of all, I need to see what that means, right, and what that looks like. We won't be reprinting an entire book. I just don't want any, there to be a system that might think that. But we'll look at some possible remedies, and we'll talk to the MSA and see, how we can make it right with them.
I just did, can I clarify something? No?
So that's, unless the board has anything else?
No? Sarah wants to say something.
All right, Assalamu alaikum. I want to thank everybody for coming. We talk about DEI and we talk about Piscataway being proud of our diversity, and this is so important. We need to have the conversations, and sometimes the conversations are uncomfortable, but that's the most important conversation. So thank you so much, all of you, for coming today.
Chantal, can I say
Go
something?
ahead,
Through the chair. Months ago, November, their first board meeting after October 7th. After October 7th happened, our first board meeting was November 2nd, 2023. I felt compelled to say something as Tom Connors, my own opinion, and not the opinion of the board. And I just thought that what was happening in Palestine was absolutely horrible and, beyond devastating. People, women, and children, civilians experiencing this devastating suffering. And I wanted to focus for a minute on the children. And I read this is what I read. It's recorded back in November of 2023, is that children, we must think about them separately from any individual government or cause. And we are volunteered, elected public school officials, and who's putting the children of the Middle East first? Where we claim to put the children of Piscataway first. So I just felt compelled because as a world community, we should be doing everything possible to protect innocent children and must condemn hate in any form. The number of children that were killed at that time, there was a quote, more than any world crisis. People have mentioned it here, tens of thousands. So we can't be blinded by hate and the rage that is occurring, because hate just breeds more hate. And this is a humanitarian crisis, and we must have a humanitarian pause until there's an international effort to put together something for the sake of the children. And I said that because it just hit so home with me. We all run for the board. We all put all the children first. So this is what happened is after that, and I just wanted to read that because that was Tom Connors' opinion, not the opinion of the board.
Thank you, Dr. Connors. Any other board member wishing to say anything?
Yeah. I'm Nancy Salgado Cowan. Um, um, sorry. I have a Muslim brother. Um, so the issue is definitely strong for me. Yes, he's Puerto Rican and he's Muslim. Okay. Um, so, assalamu alaikum to you all. And I do understand the genocide. It doesn't matter if it's Palestine, Congo. I mean, there were many different countries that people spoke of. Um, so, on behalf of myself, on behalf of my family, I understand. And although an apology does not put the flag back in, right? It's an apology that we can offer, and like Dr. Anelli said, he will work with the MSA to do what we can within the confines of the regulations of the school, the state, and the country that we live in. Thank you.
Everyone, I want to thank you for coming out tonight. Coming out shows your solidarity, but it also shows your passion, your heart, and what your true feelings are. You're not sitting home and just complaining about it. You brought it to the meeting to be about it. That's saying a lot in itself. We had a discussion in the back, which you're not privileged to. We had very open discussions, good dialogue, and as Dr. Ranelli stated, he would take full responsibility for the actions that were taken. It's not to silence anyone, it's not to offend anyone, but most importantly, it's not to tell you that it does not matter. It does matter. But give us the opportunity for Dr. Ranelli and EMS group to work together with Dr. Gray to see where we can meet at in the middle to help fix this. It doesn't undo what was done, but moving forward, you will know we take action, we stand on what we believe, and we listen to what our public has to say, because your voice matters, and your voice matters at all times. But if you don't utilize your voice, guess what? Nobody knows it's affected you. It is now on record. The decision that was made affected individuals. It affected students, it affected families, but most importantly, it affected the diversity in Piscataway, and that's not who we are. That's not what we represent. So we're going to work on it, and we'll do what we have to do. But with that being said, public comments, it's closed. I thank you all for coming out tonight. Now, if you want to hang around and stay for the rest of the meeting, you're more than welcome. We'll take it. Just trying to lighten it up a little, not trying to make a joke of it. But thank you for coming out, and get home safely. Yeah. Let's take a couple-minute recess. Kim,
Dr. Minelli, why can't you come in? Why can't you come in? There's no needed approval on our First Amendment right. Why are we being
I know you didn't do that, but I want to thank you for being here tonight. The student had to go, but
The data,
I'm going to forward the decision on it.
yeah. Yeah, you want to come back in July?
no, we appreciate it, because the program, as you know, I.
Well,
Yeah.
and no,
Yes, because it's important that that student's voice be heard, given the same respect and the same.
she had to go, she's a nurse now. That's Michelle Walker.
we're back from break. Student representatives report.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. So, a lot happening at the high school since it is our last month. It's crazy how fast the year went, and we're already at our last meeting. The class of 2027, with the weather warming up, they've been holding ice cream sales for the past few weeks to raise money for themselves, as well as like support the boys' volleyball games, and they've been selling there as well. The National Honor Society held a blood drive, their spring blood drive, on May 20th, and they collected 109 pints of blood, which holds the potential to save 327 lives, which was amazing to see. And the next blood drive, they will actually be having a summer one on July 23rd from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this one's open to the public, so anyone is able to come. Usually the ones in school is just for students and teachers, but this one, all family members to the public can come in. So that's amazing. On May 15th, our counseling department as well as our student council celebrated Decision Day, where students finally decided where we're going off to next year, and I finally made a decision. On June 5th, we had our senior awards night as well as a celebration during the day. The awards night at night, there was over $100,000 worth of scholarships distributed, which was amazing to see. And it was from Piscataway alum, people from the community all across the state. So I love that we had that, as well as the recognition during the day for anything from recognizing students in engineering to the Safety Ambassadors Program to whatever contributions students have made in the community, which was amazing. On June 6th, we had our senior class trip to Six Flags, which was very cool. I know we haven't had a senior trip in recent history, and so the fact that we were able to have this day trip to Six Flags was really enjoyable for not only the students but also the teachers. And so it was good to like be able to hang out with your friends before we graduate. With graduation coming up next week, we have cap and gown pickup going on this week. Last day is tomorrow, as well as picking up graduation tickets because of Rutgers' requirement this year. And I know the 12 ticket limit has been difficult for some families, but there's some students that aren't using all 12, so it's just, we've been figuring it out. So we have graduation practice on Monday and then graduation on Tuesday, of course, which is crazy to believe. And then finals have been going on, and I know last year Veer was rubbing in my face that that he didn't have to take finals, but this year I don't have to take finals.
Rite of passage.
Yup. So yeah, but with this being my last meeting, I just wanted to thank all of you for everything that you've ever done for me and the school community. I know it's a volunteer job, and it's clearly not always easy, but your dedication and commitment is truly commendable, and I really appreciate all of your support, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
As you mentioned, this is our last meeting. Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you mention where you committed to?
Oh, I'm going to Duke in the fall.
We're gonna make sure you have a connection, cause
Yep, I heard.
that's your alumni there.
I'll be down there for opening weekend of basketball season in
Yeah,
November.
I'll see you there.
So yeah, like Rahan mentioned, this is our last meeting, which is crazy to think about. And as well, this is finals week, so unfortunately I do have a final tomorrow, but that's okay. Next year I will be looking forward to rubbing in the next person today. So we finally have wrapped up AP exams, and we're moving on to AP Summer Institutes. Personally for me, my entire summer is full of institutes, so that is something I guess to look forward to, but not really. We'll see. The class of 2025 sold graduation grams to celebrate all the seniors graduating, which is something the junior class always does to celebrate the senior class. Once again, I can't believe Rahan's leaving, but it's come. As well, HOSA just held their annual volleyball match, which was the volleyball $1 million match. It was on May 23rd, and they raised $4K for the National Marrow Donor Program, which was really cool. I actually was the MC there, and it was so amazing to see all the people come out from the community, not just students, but also parents were there, which was really exciting. The Chiefs dance team is hosting auditions at the end of this month, as well as all the interest meeting and summer sports are starting soon, so cross country, field hockey, boys soccer, many other sports. The ICCA just hosted their heat show, which they haven't had in a hot minute, so it was really exciting to see. It was a great night of cultural performances and dancing and singing, and also musical instruments, which was on May 17th. So thank you so much for an amazing year. Again, I'm so honored to be here, and I can't wait to take Rahim's chair next year. So, yeah, I'm gonna be on this side, so we'll see.
Okay, I have a
Thank
few words to say. Tom V1, I want to thank you for being our junior representative. You have done an incredible job sitting in that seat. And it's not an easy seat to sit in because you're coming here, but you're a voice of all the students throughout the whole high school, not just the junior class, but more importantly, you're doing it along with all the other activities that you have involved. And you're doing this job for free too, so we're in a mutual vote here.
Yeah.
But you enjoy what you're doing, but most importantly, I enjoy watching you come here, do what you do, give us the information, and then going out the door and go back home to the other part of your life. But next year you have that seat, and I know you're going to put your own personal spin on it. You're going to become the unicorn that I'm seeing develop, because I see the makeup, in case you don't think I spotted it all.
I had seen your pictures before that.
Okay, so no, I don't miss anything. I catch it all. But like I say, I'm looking forward to you being a senior representative next year. Your class will not be able to thank you enough for the job that you will do, but most importantly, what you're going to learn and what you're going to take from it going forward after that will be with you forever. Now, my boy, yes, I'm calling you my boy, my friend, my buddy. It has been an incredible 2 years with you. It has been 2 years of the junior who came in with that pizzazz, that spark, and was like, I'm here to take over this meeting, and guess what? Y'all gonna remember me every time I speak. Well, guess what? We do. Yes. But most importantly, the growth that I have seen in you from junior to senior, and now soon to be graduate, is incredible. Your decision to go to Duke did not come easy. You had a lot of top choices to choose from, so I don't even know how you and your family narrowed it down and decided there. But looking forward to you coming back and reporting to us how things are going. Your stance on everything you participate in and you decide to speak on is all from the heart. That's the part that separates you from a lot of young people. But most importantly, if you don't believe it, you won't say it. Because I've seen you change up like, nope, that's not what it is. But here's one thing to learn. Keep that passion, keep that drive. You're not here to please people, you're here to be the voice. And you have one powerful voice, a voice that the world needs to hear, but a voice that people want to listen to because the information that you're presenting is going to enlighten them and give them some growth, but keep them informed. Go to Duke, do P-Way proud, go let them know. I may be a chief now, but I'm coming to you, and you better watch out because I'm about to open doors there too. With that being said, on behalf of the school board and the administrations, we have some gifts. No, it's not $1 million in here. There's no money tree. But it is a little gift of a thank you for being the representatives that you are, coming here every meeting, giving us your reports, giving us your time, but most importantly, showing us that the students care. Having a student representative gives us that bridge into that high school that we would not ordinarily have, because you're our ears, you're our eyes, but you have a voice and you bring it back. So you feed it to us, therefore we're able to get a clue and idea of things that we need to address and fix, because you come back, you tell the good, you tell the bad. You don't just say everything's great, no. You'll come in and say, here's what's wrong, this needs to be addressed. And I can appreciate, and so do the other board members, we appreciate it because that's where the difference comes in. If everybody puts on the front and says everything is great, there's never nothing to fix because everything is great. But you made sure to stay true and you were honest. For that, I thank you. And until Tuesday night, you go home because you got a final tomorrow. And wait a minute, and you finish. You get to go around.
They want a picture, Chantel.
And Raheem, you are the only reason I have the Kahoo app on my phone.
Anybody else wish to give words of encouragement to our two representatives?
It's a long night. I love you. Bye.
Well, I tried to open the floor.
Come on.
Again, thank you guys. Get home safe. See you Tuesday night.
See you
Okay.
then.
Hey, next I'm up. What do you know? President's report for June 13, 2024. I'm very proud to be able to join I was very proud to be able to join several of my fellow board members, as well as our administration, in welcoming Dr. Opal Lee during her visit to Arbor Intermediate School this week. Dr. Lee is known as the grandmother of Juneteenth for her role in making Juneteenth a national holiday, and was recently awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom to mark her place in history. Dr. Lee read to our students from her children's book, and students in turn greeted her with artwork, poetry, essays, music, and a Juneteenth flag adored with their faces. Thank you to Dr. Lee for sharing your time with us. It was a great honor for Piscataway to have such an important figure stand up as a role model for our students. Congratulations to our Piscataway High School seniors who were honored last week at Senior Awards Ceremony. These students worked extremely hard this year and throughout their 4 years of high school, and were rewarded with a wide range of well-deserved awards in all subject areas, from science, math, English, ROTC, world language, and the arts. Students also collected a total of over $105,000 in scholarship money to start themselves off on the right foot as they leave PHS. We are so proud of these shining stars, and all of their names are listed on our district website to help celebrate their accomplishments. As this is our last meeting of the year, I want to congratulate all of our students for your dedication and hard work throughout these 10 months. I'm continually impressed by your academic achievements, creativity in the arts and athletics, and successfulness and service to our community. Congratulations to the class of 2024 as you begin your journey beyond PHS, and to all our students who are moving on to the new set of challenges and celebrations in 2024-2025 school year. Enjoy your summer. Because we had a long meeting, I won't go into my little thing I was going to do about Dr. Opal Lee. Wrong. You're going to have to stick it out a couple extra minutes. That was a weekend with meeting her, being able to talk to her. Loretta and I attended her gala Friday night with the Zeta Divine Nine. She is such a humble, young lady of 97. But her words, her encouragement, and her spirit touched your heart even if you didn't want it to. It is a memory I will keep with me forever, but it was a moment that I will cherish like no other. I officially adopted her as my grandmother, and can't nobody stop it. But it just touched my heart, and it just made me feel so good to be able to be in her presence, to talk to her, and just to hear her accomplishments, but yet still be going at 97, saying there's still work to be done. So for anyone else who was able to meet her, which there was a couple other board members there, I can't say what you felt. I can only go by what I say myself. It was an incredible, touching moment for me, and like I say, I'll cherish it for life. With that, that's the end of my president's report. Dr. Minnelli?
Thank you. As always, please check out our superintendent's report online. This month, there are various end-of-the-year activities for all grade levels. Our older students giving back and teaching our younger students in different areas. Various student awards that talks about the senior awards and other awards at the end of the year, and much more. So please, when you get a chance, please check that out. June is Pride Month, and the board members, you all received some activities that are going on at the middle school and high school, so please check that out. Really proud of those activities. Every 6 months since the pandemic happened, we have to give an update on our American Rescue Safe Return Plan. And since the last 6 months, this will be our last one that we're required to do. Since our last 6 months, not much has changed, thank goodness. We're in the same situation as we were. So our plan is updated. It'll be on our website, and this will be the last one that we have to do.
Is that this one, Dr.
Yes,
Okay.
the American Rescue Plan, yeah. So, and that's required for us to do that at a board meeting, so. All right, so we are also required to give a semi-annual school safety and HIV report, so I will turn the floor over first to Mr. Rubin, then to Dr. Lottman for their portions in doing such.
Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Anelli said, twice a year we're required to update you on our HIV campaign, if you will. You have a written report in front of you. It's late, so I will be very brief. During the period of time from September to December, and this is the period that we're reporting on tonight, there were a total of 18 reports of HIB that were 18 that were fully investigated. 5 were substantiated between 2 schools, Shore and MLK. We looked for patterns to see where we should be devoting resources. I didn't see any particular patterns in these. They seem to be one-off incidents, which I guess is good news. As you'll see also, during the month of October, we, as we do every year, observe the annual Week of Respect. I don't know what we call the other 51 weeks a year, but at least 1 week a year we have a Week of Respect where age-appropriate HIB activities are conducted in each school to raise awareness. So with that, you have your written report prepared to answer any questions. Nothing else, I yield the floor to my colleague, Dr. Lotman.
That was Mr. Rubin gave you the bulletin report, this is the SSDS.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm like, wow.
Good evening, Dr. Nelly, Board President, Ms. Cherry, Board Vice President, Dr. Connors, and the rest of the Piscataway Board of Education members. This evening, I'd like to present our district's semi-annual student safety data system for the time report for the time period covering July 2023 to December 2023. The report in front of you also has our district's incidents from the year before, July 2022 to December 2022. From this point forward, with this report, I'm going to call it the, not the Student Safety Data System, but the SSDS report. So SSDS stands for Student Safety Data System.
Thank you.
Eliminating the 5 HIB cases that Mr. Rubin just discussed, our district reports 52 occurrences for the time period I said, with 5 infractions of vandalism, 6 weapons violations, 18 occurrences of violence, and 23 substance abuse accounts. Drilling in a little further under each category, starting with violence, of the 18 incidents, we report right down the middle, 9 fights and 9 threats, with 2/3 of these incidents involving students who are already receiving additional assistance for regulating behavior. Moving on to vandalism. Vandalism is an interesting category under the SSDS report where there's so many different incidents that fall under vandalism. So for us, we had 5 during this time period. 1 was vandalism of a bathroom, which not going too much into each incident, but it was very minimal, meaning custodian was able to fix the bathroom, make it as good as new by themselves within a minimal amount of time. Also under vandalism, which, you find it hard to believe this, but it falls under this category, we had 1 incident of a student taking a picture of another student without permission. The picture was appropriate, it wasn't anything like that, but it was against the other person's, it was taken without permission, so it falls under the vandalism category. And we had 3 incidents of theft, which were all caught on video, which we were able to substantiate the fact that someone did steal from either a peer or from the cafeteria. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Board of Education members for allowing us to buy so many cameras, because they definitely help assist our schools in keeping them safe. So thank you very much. Next category, weapons. We had 6 incidents, 3 small knives, 1 taser, a pair of scissors, and 1 screwdriver were found on students. Thankfully, all 6 of them were possession only, and the only reason we found out that these items were in our schools was because students in each building told a trusted adult that someone had something they should have had. So we're very proud of these students for assisting in us keeping everybody safe. Our last category, substance abuse. We had 23 occurrences. 13 of those occurrences were possession only. 10 were confirmed use. The only 2 substances to be reported during this time frame were marijuana and tobacco. And although there are 23 incidents, it was 23 students involved, there's a few incidents where 2 kids were caught vaping in the bathroom. We would count that as 1 incident, but since there was 2 people involved, it counts as 2 occurrences. So the 23, if we look at it a different way, could go down to 17. Looking at our numbers compared to this time period as opposed to the same time period from a year ago, our biggest increase in respect to the number of cases happened in substance abuse. We had 5 additional cases, 18 to 23. which, and I believe I said this last time I did this report in December, where I see this as a positive situation because the 23 students that were involved in these incidents, yes, they served disciplinary consequence in the school because it breaks the code of conduct, but after that consequence is served, these 23 students meet with their guidance counselor, the student and or the student assistant counselor on a regular basis. It's not a 1 or 2 time meeting and be on your way. It's a situation where these students have somebody to support them that they know has their best interest in mind and always sees this person for guidance or for assistance if needed. What I do all the time when we go over these SSDS reports, I can't help but throw numbers at you because that's in my DNA. I was a math teacher, so I really like to work with numbers. During the time frame of July 2023 to December 2023, our total enrollment during that 6-month period, was 7,331. The amount of school days we had during those 6 months was 72. So if you multiply those two numbers to find out the total school days we had in our total population, you get 527,832 total school days. You compare that to our 52 incidents, all right, you could calculate that 0.00985% of our school days require an SSDS report. To put it in more perspective, to get that number to 1%, we'd have to multiply our 52 incidents by more than 101. So just speaking up pure by the numbers, as a math person, I believe our district is doing an exemplary job in keeping our buildings safe. But even with that being said, we're always looking for ways to improve. So some of the activities that our district has done and will continue to do next year and the years to come to assist us in addressing the number of incidents include our Week of Respect, our School Violence Awareness Week. Every school has several safety and climate committee meetings. Every school has HIB trainings for their anti-bullying specialists as well as turnkeying it to the staff. We have DEI monthly celebrations. We have character education programs, and we also have a number of assemblies on mental health awareness, social, emotional learning, as well as violence prevention. We're also in constant communication with our community outreach team, which is formerly our municipal alliance. This school year, through that communication, we were able to have retired DEA agent and current Monmouth University teacher through the Criminal Justice Department, Mr. Doug Collier, present to all of our middle and high school students a presentation about the dangers of vaping and use of marijuana. Right now, we are currently planning, again, with the community outreach team, possibilities to facilitate more presentations to all K-12 students for the 2024-2025 school year. Thank you for your time and attention, and I'd love to answer any questions you might have.
Just a quick one.
Yes, ma'am.
Are most of the substance abuse vaping?
Yes.
Are most of them
A
are
high
use of the
percentage is vaping, and not to keep my head in the sand, yes, we have 23 occurrences. We want to make sure that we address every single student that is vaping. Again, not to be, I caught you, I got you, but to get them assistance as needed.
And are we being vigilant with monitoring things like the bathroom? I know there's a lot of conversation with students regarding the bathrooms and the smell and the things that are permeating from the bathrooms in the high school. So I guess my question is, are we being vigilant with checking, like making sure that
Yeah, so we have safety officers in areas where hallways are, and as much as we possibly can, we're
like
cruising
checking
on in there, checking, yeah.
I know sometimes I
Yeah.
think it's the bathroom, you don't want to invade people's privacy
Right.
sort of thing,
Yeah,
but
they
just to
have
be
crews in
extra
there and-
vigilant.
and, yeah, they're visible in the hallways, and we want that number to be 0, of course.
That's the goal.
Thanks, Dr. Locke.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
And on our agenda, we had an update from our Rutgers Future Scholars Program, but our presenter had to step out, so we're going to have that report for you in July. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Rinaldi. Personnel and Labor Relations, Ms. Nancy Salgado Cohen.
I don't even know where I am. Okay, yeah. Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through P be approved as presented.
Mr. Secretary, can you please take the roll?
Mrs. Corodino?
You were P? All right, sorry. I don't know how we got to P, that's all. I was gonna say, abstain from F and yes to, everything else.
F as in Frank?
F is in Frank.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Rivers?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
I wanna see what F is. Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Committee reports. There are a couple, so get comfortable. The Curriculum Committee met on June 3rd, 2024, and we discussed grades K-8 science, financial literacy, domestic violence, and more. K-8 science year in review. Dr. Jeff Celebrezze gave us an overview of the year for grades K-8 science, including the final year of the middle school integrated science transition. His presentation at the NJ Science Convention in October, a spotlight on the district created by MOSA Mark Science. Middle school in-service topics, including culturally representative teaching and small group instructions, mystery science kits, students' trips to the PHS Planetarium, hydroponics gardens started at MLK and Kanakamak Middle Schools. Financial literacy. The Malcolm Jenkins Foundation presented on a financial literacy program developed in a partnership with Money Vehicle. The program includes interactive tech books and educational resources, professional development and ongoing support, a capstone character project by students. There are assessments to measure students' progress. The program meets state standards and can be added to a school's learning management system. The committee discussed possible integration of the program into the curriculum. What Winners Won't Tell You. Janine Albanese discussed the integration of the book What Winners Won't Tell You by Malcolm Jenkins into the 12th grade English classes. There has been excellent feedback and the district is looking into how it can be centered in the curriculum. Bilingual waiver. Glanisha Gerardo Moran discussed bilingual programs. When a district has 20 or more speakers of a language, it is required to give instructions in that language. A bilingual waiver is given to districts where there are logical constraints that cannot be met. In grades K through 5, students receive sheltered instruction, 1 period of ESL, and in 6 through 8, students receive high-intense instructions, 2 periods of ESL. In grades 9 through 12, students have 2 in-class supports. The plans receive conditional approval from the state in May. Domestic violence. Dr. Kim Yancey James, a career social worker with the state of New Jersey, discussed domestic violence as a part of the health and PE standards. The district is making the community aware of some resources that are available. Dr. Yancey James shared the standards and expectations for delivering domestic violence lessons at every grade level. We had a packed house. We had a very fulfilling meeting. Domestic violence is a silent killer that is not discussed in the public and brought up in many conversations. However, we did bring it up and we did discuss it. We know violence takes place everywhere, but we have to take the veil off of our eyes and realize that students are being exposed to domestic violence at younger and younger ages, but they're also living it through some of their own experiences being in domestic violence relationships. They do have situations where kids are in bad situations in the high school and really don't have anywhere to turn or don't know that they're in a bad situation because it's the norm, because they may have watched it in the home that they grew up in. So with that being said, in the curriculum committee, we are trying to address not only their education, but them as a well-rounded individual, and addressing domestic violence is one of our ways of doing so. And that concludes my report.
Madam Chair and Madam President, under financial literacy, the committee discussed possible integration of the program into the curriculum. What does that mean?
Did you want Dr. Baskerville to speak on that? Okay.
Yeah, we're looking at, the state has standards at what we're supposed to do, starting in grade 8 and going up through high school. So we're looking at how we can take some of the possibilities of what's in their curriculum and lay it into what we're doing. So they're going, as a matter of fact, they're going to make the whole thing available to us on next week.
Okay.
And then we're going to sit down and start looking at places and things that we possibly can pull out of it.
It's the biggest key is for us to get students to understand money. The earlier you learn and understand money, the better off you will be, because as long as you think money has no value and it just magically appears. The harm is being done, and trying to reverse that thought processing takes even longer. So once they realize you have to earn it in order to have it, but you need to save it and not just spend it all the time. So the sooner we introduce them to working with money and understanding money, the better off the community will be, and the better off they will be as functioning adults.
Yeah, because I mean, I was in this meeting, and how engaging this particular program that
It
was
was.
developed through the Malcolm Jenkins Foundation was to get the kids to actually be interested in their own finances.
Right.
That's the key to it.
And our biggest push was to make sure, especially at the high school level, that with his name being attached to it, that it would draw more students into it and wanting to take a class that involves something that Malcolm Jenkins is a part of.
Right.
But it wasn't just a textbook you read.
Right.
No, they have slides, they have games, they have things that come at them a different way that they can better relate to versus your standard learning process, because not everyone learns in that standard classroom setting. Sometimes you have to switch things up and come at students a different way in order to get them engaged and to participate. So that's the mission of this financial literacy program here.
Nice.
Dr. Connors, fiscal and planning?
The Fiscal Plannings and Operations Committee met on June 4th, 2024 to discuss award of bids, building upgrades and more. The award of contracts, food service equipment. One bid was received from Denver Equipment Company of Charlotte. This is the same company that completed serving lines last year. Painting, 4 bids were received that were within the budget. A&A Painting and Contracting Company is the low bidder. Paving projects, 5 bids were received, with the low bid coming from Top Line Construction Corp. Top Line has completed several paving projects in the district in recent years. Facility capital projects, roofing upgrades, work will begin at Randolphville immediately after the school year ends, followed by Knollwood in early mid-July. PHS Media Center, Spiesel Architectural Group reviewed updated design plans and budget estimates with district administration. Spiesel will provide a proposal, prepare bid specifications, and oversee construction with an anticipated bid period in fall 2024. Acoustical upgrades, Spiesel provided a proposal for architectural services that is included on the June board meeting agenda. Preschool facility expansion, the district submitted a grant application for state funding of administration building renovations, primarily, I'm starting to get tired.
No way.
Very dry. Project that 116 preschool students could be accommodated, that's great. Energy Savings Improvement Program, Siemens conducted 2 training meetings to review the updated building management system with district staff. Honeywell is reviewing punch lists and completing closeout packages for the completed portions of the ESIP. Siemens is expected to complete their work over the summer. Honeywell visited with 4 business, CT career technical education classes at Piscataway High School on May 22nd and 23rd. The visits consisted of a presentation, question and answer period, and a tour of boiler room and other facilities. And I believe this was with the engineering students in the engineering academy. Use of facilities policy 7510. Mr. Oliveira reviewed proposed rate adjustments for facility rentals and discussed adjustments to the facilities application, such as an insurance requirements and other recommendations for the policy. Mr. Oliveira will finalize the recommendations and refer them to the policy committee. And in this too, it's not like he did the rates on it. David compared the rates like with a lot of the schools in the area. Food services. Mr. Oliveira has had 2 transition meetings with Machio's Food Service. Machio's held 2 onboarding meetings with existing Sedexa employees to expedite the transition. A summer schedule is being established to ensure a smooth start. I just want to say real quick on this one, usually the employees that are with like Sodexo, right, it's good because they'll come on with like Machio's, so it's,
So
that's
people are
good for
not
everybody.
losing.
What?
No, they're not losing
So
their
they're
jobs.
just
Yeah,
transitioning
yeah,
to a
Transitioning
new
to a new
provider.
company,
I understand,
yes.
okay, good.
Which is a good thing. Wellness Committee, breakfast was provided for Shore Middle School winners of the District Step Challenge on May 24th. Prizes are being distributed to the 3 individual winners from each school department. Two meditation sessions, one in person and the other virtual, were offered to all staff through the district partnership with the Rutgers Health UBC Employee Assistance Program. New Jersey School Business Legislative, I discussed with the supplemental state and bill that was signed into law by Governor Murphy and other legislators. And remember when you asked them, when we had the budget presentation, you asked about what the state could possibly do? This is what they're doing is that those districts that, are getting cut in their funding, this bill provides like a way in which they can get some of those funds, but the news here, because everybody keeps talking about the 2% cap, this includes legislation that you can go above your 2% cap,
But
which
you have
is,
to pass it to
which
the
is new.
taxpayers.
Yeah,
right?
no, because, no,
You don't.
no, that's the good thing about it, is that
So
you-
where does the money come from if you're not passing it to the tax? I mean, it doesn't affect us, but in other towns.
you
how
won't
does-
have to have a vote on it. That's all
No,
I'm
but so you would pass it to the taxpayers, just they wouldn't have a
Well,
vote
that-
in pass, I understand.
Yes.
You're passing it, they're just not voting on.
Yeah.
Understood, okay. I know
Right.
it doesn't affect us because we're at the 1%,
Yeah.
right? We're only, okay.
But it's such a state issue, and I'll get off it, you know how much I like finance, get off it, that there are some districts like Tom Rivers and everything, even if they had like a 20% property left acres, they couldn't make up the money that they're doing. So it's really bad in other districts. So with those districts, talk to the legislatures. This is a good bill that New Jersey school boards also went along with, and it passed. The governor signed it. So those school districts that are in a rough situation have a way out now of trying to catch up a little bit before hopefully the legislature rewrites the funding law. Mr. Oliveira will be participating in legislative panel and moderating the Association of School Business Officials International presentation at the NJ-ASBO conference.
Where's the conference this year, David?
It's always in Atlantic City
Oh.
for the state. Yeah.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, it was last week.
Oh,
Business office, the committee reviewed the current balance on the May 2024 NJ ARM statement and the current interest rates. And a candidate has accepted the offer for the accounts payable vacancy. Business office will employ a student intern during the summer of '24, and I believe it's the same student, right, the same as last year?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, which is nice.
She's fantastic. We love having her for the summer.
And that is my report, Madam
Thank you, Dr. Connors. Culture and Climate, Mrs. Delgado Cohen.
Culture, Climate, and Community Relations Committee met in person on Tuesday, May the 21st. We were the first committee to do so in person, post-COVID, to discuss positive messaging, community partnerships, and wellness service. We also had a potluck, cultural potluck, where people brought in foods from their different cultures. It was very nice, and we exchanged many ideas. Positive messaging was reviewed. Monthly themes, quotes, and the marquees for the months were included for April, were Jewish Heritage Month, Autism Awareness, and Acceptance Month, Eid al-Fitr, Passover, Earth Day, etc. There was so many things displayed in the positive messaging. You can all read them. Gary Miller displayed the photos of several of them. I'm sure many of you have seen them all over the quotes and the marquees over the few months. Posting of inspirational quotes and information on the marquees will continue throughout the summer. Community partnerships were discussed. Partnerships with Rutgers continues to run smoothly. Information on the newest partnership, Project Health Links, was shared. Several PHS financial literacy classes traveled to the Junior Achievement Headquarters in Edison, where they participated in the Finance Park program with hands-on learning activities. The Junior Achievement High School Heroes Day was planned for Arbor School on May the 24th, where we're close to 50 PHS Future Business Leaders of America members were there to visit the Arbor School and to teach them age-appropriate lessons related to financial literacy. A group of young women from the PHS were able to visit the Verizon headquarters on June the 7th and spend the day interacting with women leaders throughout the company. On wellness services, the Haven is wrapping up services for the year, and they do not hold summer sessions. The committee discussed seeking agencies for referral if students and families need services over the summer.
Thank you, Ms. Delgado Cohen, and that concludes all our committee reports. Approval of minutes, Ms. Loretta Rivers.
That's, be it resolved that the following minutes be approved as submitted. The business meeting, May 9th, 2024, and executive session, May 9th, 2024.
Motion?
Can I, a second? All in favor? And it's approved. Fiscal planning and operations, Dr. Connors.
Be resolved, following motions identified as items A through AC be approved as presented.
Second.
And if I just, I want to draw your attention to a couple of items here. Well, first of all, like 3 things. In June, that's why it's so long, is when we do a lot of the authorizations and the awards and the designations, so that's why it's so long. But items I wanted to draw your attention to were G and H, and what happens every year is that there's a, if you look on page 7, G and H, we always say whereas has determined the amount not to exceed. So for capital reserve, it's not to exceed $10 million, and for maintenance reserve, it's $3 million. And that's what gives us the funds for those particular things, and so we do that every June. Okay?
And I will say this, I'm sorry, I appreciate with the substitute staffing,
rate
how you break down what the actual pay rate is versus what the company is getting. I will say where I work, this is a conversation we have, wondering like how much are the subs actually getting versus how much the company is getting. So I think that's very transparent, and I think that's helpful.
We spent a lot of time, the cabinet reviewing, and have made some further adjustments this year, and we've had better fill rates, and we're trying to continue that.
And then just one final thing on the does cost a lot. It was Q, but it's a good thing. That includes the paving, and then we do that every, now, so for the fall, and we're gonna get a lot of paving done, but it's $1,320,000. It's a lot of money.
It's a need, so it's being achieved. Mr. Secretary, can you take the roll?
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Rivers?
Here?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said take attendance. So tired.
I know. It's yes, not here this time.
I'm the one that flew in from California and didn't get home till 2 in the morning.
Okay, Ms. Rivers.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Yes. Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Curriculum, Mr. King.
Skip Brenda.
There's nothing there.
Oh, okay.
Wake up, Courtney, wake up.
Just making sure. Be it resolved, that the following motions identified as items A through D be approved as presented.
Second.
Mr. Secretary, can you take the roll?
Ms. Rivers?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Rashid?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Pupil Services, Mrs. Cordino.
Be it resolved that the following motion identified as items A through E be approved as presented.
Mr. Secretary, can you take the roll?
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Ms. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Rivers?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Administrative and auxiliary, Ms. Stafford.
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through E be approved as presented.
Second.
Mr. Secretary, can you take the roll?
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Rivers?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Okay, old business, we're gonna leave it old, we're gonna go right on to new business.
Hold on, I got old
I'm
business.
messing with you.
Hold on.
I figured you
I'm gonna
needed a
keep this
laugh.
short, listen. I'm gonna keep this short, because it's been a long day, and we still have more business in the back.
Yes.
Last board meeting, I asked some questions about athletics, about the athletic department. I do thank you for the response, and the information that was collected. I did review the data, which brought me more questions, as I was looking at the data. I was wondering, is it possible to desegregate the high school data, to include varsity, junior varsity, and freshmen? I know there are some teams that have freshmen and other teams don't. So if we could just desegregate that data in that Excel sheet, that would be great. Also, I noticed some information I requested was missing from my initial inquiry. I did send you the initial questions. You can see, what's that?
What I missed?
So I'm going to tell you, so the response sheet that I got from the athletic department, I was missing questions about how they did the funding formula for sports. Is there a formula? The criteria for how we hire coaches, and questions about the booster club, money, parameters, and checks and balances. So I can resend you the highlight stuff. Just, okay. And that's it.
Okay.
Madam Chair, real quick, I get this some advertisements. You guys got a board certification special meeting, the next one, June 25th. We're gonna cover communications and something else, at board governance. And that puts us very close, so in the fall, all we do is a few things, and then we'll get board certification. The other thing is that we did form an ad hoc committee on the meal debt services, and we are going to, so we found that committee will get something from me. We're gonna try and meet in July, so it'll set us up.
So that we
for
can
the-
implement whatever we come up with for the start of the school year.
Yep, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. New business, I know Dr. Ranelli has something, so I'm going.
Yeah, I emailed you, I think it was yesterday, graduation details. If you didn't check your email, I also included it in the packet tonight. I'll ask that if you are coming here, your graduation gowns are back here, and they will still be hanging. I gave you your sashes to take home. I didn't want them to get lost in here. I will ask that you, I know we all have to go in the back again, except Chantel. I will ask that you try on your gown. The company sent some gowns, and they were of different sizes. Just want to make sure that we have a few days to adjust that if needed. So when you go back there, just try it on. If you are not planning on coming and taking the bus, take that with you. And if you are, you could leave it here. It'll be pressed and ready for you all to go. But you're going to need to bring this with you when you come. Okay. If you have any questions on the directions, please let me know. Give me a call. And it's the bus ride here and the dinner here makes it really easy. But it's also easy to park there and with the map and things like that. So whatever you choose to do, just let me know.
Do we need ID to get in, or just let us in?
ID go where?
Like, do we need like this ID to go in?
No, you'll be with me and you'll go like the little ducks we did
Okay.
last year.
All right.
And if you drive yourself, they'll see you in that gown, they let you right in.
Yes, yeah.
And they know you're there
Yep.
for a reason. Okay.
And that's all.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ranelli. Executive session, be it resolved that the board adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussion the superintendent's evaluation. No further action will be taken. Everyone, that includes you, David will, do I officially?
No, I will.
Frank
Yep,
will
basically,
adjourn
I'm
this.
just
So-
adjourning in time, yep.
Okay,
Second.
can I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And we are going to executive session, part 2, in 3 and 4. I'll try my gown on in the back.
Okay, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah, there's an envelope. That's why I had